Joining me now is Arizona Republican State Representative Matt Gress. Matt, as I just Representative was saying, you brought that motion to force a vote on a bill to repeal the 1864 abortion ban. Your effort was effectively blocked by some of your own Republican colleagues. How confident are you that ultimately this will pass when lawmakers return next week?
Hi, Kristen. I feel very confident that when we convene next Wednesday, we will vote on the measure and it will prevail in the House and it will be sent to the Senate and the Senate will take up the measure and it will prevail in the Senate. And most likely that bill will be on Governor Hobbs's desk by the end of the day.
You think by the end of Wednesday, Governor Hobbs will be able to sign a bill to effectively repeal that 1864 abortion ban bill?
That's my expectation. Based on the conversations I'm having with members, we're going to have the votes.
You know, it's interesting. Yesterday, the House Speaker said lawmakers need to carefully consider action and not rush legislation, saying, quote, "These are difficult conversations we all need to have, and we absolutely cannot have them when Democrat legislatures act as uncivilly and engage in appallingly childish behavior as we saw on the House floor." Obviously, that is a response to the outburst that we played at the top of your show. What is your reaction to that, given that you did bring this motion to the floor, that you support repealing this ban?
You know, Arizona has had a long tradition of leaders choosing what's right over party affiliation. And on this particular topic, repealing the territorial ban, which goes way too far and effectively outlaws all abortions in the state of Arizona except to save life of the mother, is not reflective of the will of the electorate. So I think, constituents want us. I represent a district that I think is a microcosm of Arizona and of the United States. It's a third Republican, a third Democrat, and a third independent. They expect us to come together and talk through this issue, resolve it so that we can provide the certainty to Arizona women and doctors that they're not going to be locked up for an abortion. I feel very confident that we can have that dialogue and have that vote next Wednesday, and that it will prevail.
Representative Gress, just give us the bottom line here of what your goal is. Do you want to see a return to the 15-week ban that had been in place prior to this state Supreme Court decision?
I'm proudly pro-life and have supported policies that respect women and protect new life. And I also believe in a reasonable time frame with exceptions. And should we repeal the territorial law, the 15-week time frame would go back into effect. I think that is where most Arizonans are on this issue, with reasonable policies. So that would be my preference. And then we also have on the ballot that you mentioned earlier in the segment, the Abortion Access Initiative, which would effectively permit abortions up to 9 months in certain circumstances. I think that's too extreme. So you have a territorial ban on one hand and a 9-month abortion initiative on the other hand. Most Arizonans are in the middle on this issue, and we need to find common ground.
Just to be clear, you're talking about the constitutional amendment that would make the threshold viability at 24 weeks. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes. Well, that's one provision, but they also include an exception beyond the 24 weeks if a Title 32 a healthcare professional
for the life of the mother, if the life of the mother is at risk, if there is a health concern.
There's a mental health provision in there, so that if a Title 32 professional identifies a mental health concern as well, and beyond just the life of the mother, that's always there throughout the entire pregnancy, and it's there under the territorial law. But the mental health issue, I think, has some serious concerns around how easy and legal it would be to get late-term or partial birth abortions. It goes too far.
Well, Representative Gress, it's important to note that late-term abortions are incredibly rare. If you look at the polls, when you talk about a 15-week ban, 54% of Americans actually say they're opposed to it. I hear you saying that most people support it. That goes against what the polling shows, Representative Gress.
I've seen polling that says the opposite, where the 15-week time frame is a common sense solution that a lot of voters are in favor of. But what is really clear is that most voters and most Arizonans want abortion to be permissible in the state of Arizona. They do not want it outright banned, and they don't want the territorial ban. And so that's really important here. When we come back next Wednesday, we have an emergent situation that we should address with urgency. And I call on my Republican and Democratic colleagues to come together for Arizona to do the right thing.
Let me just ask you, do you think that the Republican presumptive nominee, Donald Trump, do you think that he has shown a lack of clarity around this issue? He is responsible for overturning Roe v. Wade. He has, in response to this, said that it's appropriate for these things to get decided at the state level, although he also has said this goes too far. He's been accused of hypocrisy by some. Some conservatives say that he hasn't shown enough clarity. Do you think his lack of clarity will create vulnerabilities for Republicans up and down the ballot?
I think President Trump has been pretty clear that this decision should rest with people and with the states. And he also believes in reasonable timeframes with exceptions that respect women and protect new life. I think he's been very clear on that point.
But as you know, a number of conservative groups have said that effectively him coming out and saying that this is a state's issue from their perspective doesn't go far enough, that they want a candidate who's going to support a national ban. Do you support a national ban on abortion at 15 weeks?
I do not support a national ban, and I don't support any national action, and I don't support a state ban. This is for the people of Arizona to decide, and they will decide it this November. And when the votes are cast and the results are given, you're going to see a place that has policies that protect women, and my hope is will also protect new life. And I believe that the current policy that we have in place with the territorial ban does neither.
All right, State Representative Gress, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Kristen.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.